Breaking news and...
Lest there was any question about what the president will do.
If I could answer that question, I would be, I don't know what.
Starting right here, right now, we're introducing a new feature. We're calling it, at least at the moment, The Week in Media. If you've got better options, I'm all ears. I'd love to hear them. What we're going to do is, each week, look at 2 or 3 stories in the media, things that really caught the public's attention, things that a lot of people wrote about, things that people covered on television, radio, whatever. And we'll take a little step back and see how important they really were and how the media did. First up is Operation Varsity Blues. This is the perfect media story because it involves famous, rich people doing things that the rest of us find untoward. The famous people in particular in this case are Lori Loughlin, who was Aunt Becky on Full House, and Felicity Huffman, who was in Desperate Housewives, among many other things. They're both a lot of fun, people like them, and they are accused of paying people to cheat to help get their kids into college. The whole thing is ridiculous and ugly, and people really made fun of them, of course, as they probably should have, but I took a little different tack. It really made me mad. I've got a kid in college. I got 3 more kids that I sure hope are going to go to college. I don't have $500,000 to pay somebody to Photoshop their picture onto a crew team photo. So, you know, we have to do what most everybody does. Scrimp, save, make our kids study, try to get them to do well on tests. That's what most of us have to do. That's what these people didn't do. It's not as if rich people don't have the means to get ahead anyway. Why not spend $500,000 on SAT prep? I don't know. People don't know, but it was a big story. It was a huge story, and I think it's going to be playing out in ramifications in the way that people get into college for quite some time. Next up, Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson is an interesting case to me. He is now, of course, a very divisive Fox News host. He started out as a magazine writer, and I'm always sort of partial to people who start their careers in print. And he was a good magazine writer. I didn't always agree with him, but he was provocative and he could write. He reminded me sort of a JV George Will. Television's made him crazy. Now he's kind of a JV Sean Hannity. And what's happened now is they've unearthed some things that he said on the show Bubba the Love Sponge, which has ruined many careers, between 2006 and 2011, where he said some really awful stuff. Really bad. I mean, that involved underage marriage, sex. In one tape, he referred to Iraqis as semi-literate monkeys and said they don't use toilet paper, that kind of thing. Here's the deal. He was not an employee of Fox News when he said this stuff. Fox News doesn't have to say a word about it, and in Fox News fashion, they haven't, as long as he keeps getting the good ratings. The one thing that may make them say something, however, are advertisers, and they seem to be getting angry, but they come and they go. That's your personal choice. If you want to watch Tucker Carlson, millions of people do. I watch it for work. I wouldn't watch it if I didn't have to. I'm not a big fan of going back and saying, oh, somebody said this when they were 14 years old or whatever. Tucker Carlson wasn't 14 years old. He was actually a successful TV host already. So that kind of makes it ugly, and now he's really doubled down on it. The whole thing is just a mess, and sometimes people just have to learn to shut up. Last but not least, Beto O'Rourke. Perhaps you've heard the name. You're certainly going to if you haven't. Of course you have. He's the Democratic Party's darling, even though he couldn't beat Ted Cruz in a Senate election in 2018. However, he announced his candidacy, and immediately people jumped on a media aspect of it, a Vanity Fair profile that I would say charitably could be called glowing. It really made him look good, it made him look cool, and that's exactly what he wants, of course. And then, of course, media, being media, wrote about media and said, this is what they did with John Edwards, look at that picture, this looks like a picture of Ronald Reagan. You know, there's probably better things to write about. There's probably better things to talk about. I thought it was interesting that the New York Times and the Washington Post, both on their websites, treated the announcement pretty far down the page. It's probably where it deserves right now, right? I mean, we got a long way to go. Who knows how it's going to turn out? But anytime a cool, hip, pretty face comes on the scene, media jumps all over. It's what we do. Probably we shouldn't. That's it for this week. Don't forget, if you got a better idea for a name than This Week in Media, I want to hear it. Otherwise, I hope you'll come back every Friday, watch, listen, and have fun.